this specific one. Now in the next page, past where Yifeng was directing us, there's some more physical description of this thing. What have you got? Yeah, give me the quotation there. About its sound. Keep going. Good. Perfect. More necessary qualities. Think of conch shells. Piggy tells us a little bit. We know a little bit from our own previous knowledge. What else do we know about conch shells that can fill this slide? Sheila? True. However, that's kind of here. We can use it to call that meeting. It makes that sound. Trevor? Oh, okay. So, interesting. So in order to use it, the energy of your body must come from deep within your body, from the diaphragm area. It's an interesting point. Sound comes from diaphragm. Do you ever find shells on a beach? Do you often find fully intact shells? Why not? Yes, they get broken up by the surf. Would large hunks of iron be broken up by the surf? True, but if you stepped on a large hunk of iron, would you break it? Thank you. They're fragile. Fragile. Yes. Yes. Conch shells are not like some of your scallop shells or something else that you find littering the beach. Yes.
Is it shiny?
True, but once again, that would be the description of this one particularly. So we would look into its being touched with faded pink, its shininess, as something specific there. So obvious that you're missing it. It's not artificial. It's not human-made. Which of the symbols is? Fire. Is not necessarily entirely human-made. The glasses, totally artificial. The glasses are a product of industry, a product of human science, a product of engineering. They're not naturally occurring. Fire can be naturally occurring. So fire is a little bit of a mix of both. But the conch shell derives nothing from human invention. Totally naturally occurring. What is a conch shell? Somebody in 7th period didn't even know this. What are shells? Yeah, Ashley. That's right. They're homes for sea animals. I was shocked that somebody didn't know that. Yes, they're not simply fancy rocks. They are home for sea animals. They're naturally occurring. They are organic material that comes from a biological animal. So there you go. We now have enough evidence to answer 2 questions. The first question is our question of representation. Second is the question of comment. The representation question, what does this thing represent? The comment question, what is the author saying about what that thing represents? So let's do this with allegory. What does Jack represent? What does Jack represent? Violence. So my first question, the question of representation with Jack, Jack represents violence. Second question, comment, what is Golding saying about violence? What has Golding said about violence? It's effective. Ellie, can you remember one of the pieces of evidence that shows you that Golding says violence is effective? In other words, what does Jack do that shows you that? And he's successful at it, right? Okay, so that detail answers the question of comment. What is Golding saying about violence? He's saying it's effective. How do we know that? Because Jack is able to hunt. 2 questions. What does it represent, and what is Golding saying about that thing that it represents? Let me do it this way. I want to use red, and I want to use red to symbolize love. Love is an emotion, and my particular feelings about love are unknown to you. So let's say I feel very positive about love. I like love. In my literature, in my poem, in whatever, what red object would I use to symbolize love? Yes?
A heart.
A heart. Really? Have you ever seen Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? No? There's an awesome scene where this evil Indian witch doctor guy just rips a heart right out of this guy's chest, and he's got this beating heart right there in his hand. That's what I would use to represent love if I like it? Yeah, it's right, okay. Okay, so would I use that, a heart, to represent love?
Not a literal heart.
Stylized heart.
Oh, stylized heart. Stylized heart's not a real thing. I want a real thing. Sheila. Oh, red rose. Nice. Sheila, I like love. I'm going to use a red rose. Why am I using a red rose to express my affection toward love? I understand, but why? Why roses? Why not the red beating heart that is dripping blood down onto the floor? Kelsey's moving back a little bit now. Why not? Why the red rose? The answer's so obvious, it's right in front of you. Ashley?
Because the rose represents love.
No, Teresa.
Because it's like pretty.
Because it's beautiful. Because it has a silky texture to it, because it's delicate, because it's gorgeous when it blooms, because people usually have a positive reaction. And if I were writing about it in my poetry, I would talk about its beauty. Aha. Now let's say I hate love. Let's say I've been burned by love. Let's say I've just been dumped and I am bitter and angry. Love for me in my poem would be a gory, red, beating heart. The violence and the gore are now emphasized, and it's disgusting. I use this heart to represent love. That shows you that I, as an author, don't like love. I use the beautiful rose to represent love. That shows you, as an author, I like love.